Are you a student that's currently enrolled in college, or are you struggling with the college courses that you're currently taking? Well, if that's the case for you, then I have some good news. Because over the years, I've developed very few tips and techniques that simplifies and strategizes what you need to do to succeed in your online college courses. To begin today, I would like to talk about the credibility that I withhold. I've been attending school since I was about 5 years old, and over the course of those years, I developed techniques for myself that bettered my grades and overall bettered my life. The first technique I would like to talk to you today about is developing a routine. A routine is important because without one, life is structureless. Without a routine, you are more likely to contract diseases via stress. According to the National Association of Professional Organizers, 60% of illnesses and diseases are caused by stress. A routine is a cyclical form of habits that a person forms, and they usually stem from micro-habits. Micro-habits are little tiny things that a person does every day, day in and day out, and these things include things like brushing your teeth or making your bed. Micro-habits form bigger habits, and those bigger habits develop what we call a routine. Having a routine can lead you to a life of action rather than a life of reaction. And a life of action is waking up and knowing what you're going to do because you had planned it beforehand. And according to another statistic from the National Association of Professional Organizers is that on average, each person spends about 1 year looking for things that they have lost, when they could have just as easily put them back in the same place. That would be a routine, putting things back exactly where you found them every time. Now that you've learned a little bit about routines, I'd like to talk to you more about, I'd like to move on to the next technique, which is writing things down. Writing things down can increase your chances of succeeding and achieving any of your goals by 1.4 times. This is better known as the generation effect, a phenomenon that was discovered by neurologists, which basically establishes the idea that a human will have better memory for things that they write down rather than things that they've either merely read or just told themselves that they remember. Writing things down is formed into a habit by repetition, just as those habits develop your routine. All of these things and all of these techniques that I was talking about, they correlate, they coincide. Doing them all together will be helpful. The third and final topic today is avoiding multitasking. Multitasking isn't possible, and it's not real. I say this because the human brain can only focus on one thing at once, and trying to diverge your focus into two different things, it's not fathomable. According to CoSchedule.com, multitasking reduces a person's productivity by 40%. And once a person multitasks and diverts their focus from one thing to another, it takes about 15 minutes to regain that original focus, according to SmartSimpleMarketing.com. Another statistic that I can tell you about multitasking is that it can cause a 10% drop in IQ. Overall, multitasking isn't worth it, and it's not something that can help you in your online college courses. It's not something that can help you in your life. To conclude, I would just like to summarize my points and talk to you about my hopes for the speech and the outcome of the audience is listening. Summarize, we talked about a routine. We talked about the importance of a routine. We talked about how you can develop a routine. And we talked about micro habits. Along with that, I gave you a few statistics involving the importance of it. The next topic that I spoke to you about was writing things down. I spoke to you about the importance of writing things down. I spoke to you about the likelihood of your success if you do write things down. After speaking to you about writing things down, I discussed avoiding multitasking. And so overall, my hope with this speech is that you can take away something and that you can develop your own routine and you can write your own ideas down and you can avoid your own forms of multitasking. I hope that you've learned something today. Thank you very much. My name is Miller Boyce and I'm glad to have made this speech.